It started with something so small most people would have missed it. A few quiet edits on the royal family's official website. No breaking news, no press briefing, no flashing headline, just a silent change that rippled through Buckingham Palace like an aftershock. On October 1, 2025, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's pages were rewritten. Not refreshed, rewritten. Paragraphs that once painted them as modern, polished, and powerful were suddenly gone. Their biographies, once long enough to fill a page, had been stripped down to a few neutral lines. No glowing details about education, no mentions of humanitarian achievements, no polished proof of royal purpose, just a sterile introduction. For Meghan, the page now called her a former actress best known for Suits, the show that once made her famous. For Harry, the description listed his title, his rank, and little else. Everything that made them look like the monarchy's bright new future had vanished, and that silence told the story, because when the royal family remove your history, it isn't by accident, it's a statement. For years, Harry and Meghan's official biographies had helped sell the idea that they were the future of the monarchy. Meghan, the brilliant American with beauty and brains. Harry, the reformed prince who turned his rebellion into redemption. Together, they were the global couple meant to modernize the crown. But by 2025, that fairy tale had collapsed under the weight of contradictions, lawsuits, documentaries, and public fatigue. The couple who once promised transparency now found their own narratives under investigation. Let's start with Meghan's story. She has told her rise with charisma, a California childhood, a top-tier education, and an early career shaped by ambition and empathy. Yet piece by piece, that story has been challenged. Take the Grad Night 1999 story. Meghan has said she celebrated her graduation with classmates at Disneyland. It sounds charming, wholesome, even cinematic, but according to her former high school, no such trip happened. Not enough students signed up. The event was canceled. It's a small lie, maybe, but one that shows how easily myth becomes memory. Then there's Argentina 2002. In interviews, Meghan often recalled working as an intern at the U.S. Embassy in Buenos Aires, a glamorous, official-sounding position for a student of international relations. The truth, according to insiders, was far less formal. Her uncle, who had connections, helped arrange a brief period of observation. No official post, no pay, no diplomatic duties, just a few weeks watching others work. And of course, there's Northwestern University. For years, Meghan proudly claimed to have earned a dual degree in theater and international relations. The problem? Northwestern doesn't offer an international relations major. The closest program is international studies, and faculty records suggest she didn't complete her final semester on campus. There's no evidence she ever walked across the stage with the 2003 graduating class. Each detail alone might seem minor, but together they reveal a pattern, a steady inflation of achievement, a rewriting of the past to fit the narrative of prestige. And Harry's story has its own revisions. His education at Eton was always a sensitive topic. Teachers described him as likable but unfocused, a young man whose charisma carried him farther than his coursework. Then came the rumor that an art teacher had written one of his essays for him to ensure he passed. That teacher later said she was fired for speaking up, then compensated quietly after legal wrangling. That incident paved the way for Sandhurst, the British military academy famous for its rigor and exclusivity. Harry entered, trained, served honorably, and built much of his adult identity around his military image. But if his foundation at Eton was shaky, the myth of meritocracy began to crumble. For years, the monarchy glossed over these cracks because the image worked. Harry was Diana's son, the relatable royal who smiled through scandal. Meghan was the American outsider who gave the family global flair. Their union promised progress. Their wedding symbolized change. Then came the interviews, the memoirs, the podcasts. What started as confession turned into confrontation, and the palace reached its limit. Each new appearance seemed to widen the divide between duty and drama. The couple became global celebrities, yes, but no longer royal ambassadors. So, when the royal family's website suddenly erased those lengthy biographies, it wasn't random. It was calculated. The message was clear. The Crown will no longer defend the Sussex narrative. Some insiders say the move was simple digital housekeeping, part of a wider effort to streamline outdated profiles. But if that were true, Catherine and Sophie's pages would have been shortened too. They weren't. Their bios remained detailed, specific, and verifiable. School histories, patronages, achievements, all intact. Only Harry and Meghan were cut down to bone. Because transparency works both ways, every line left online is a line that can be fact-checked, and the monarchy knows how dangerous that can be in the internet age. Better to delete than to defend. Behind the scenes, the process is as clinical as it sounds. Communication staff identify risky claims, legal advisors verify what can be proven, and everything else quietly disappears. No announcement, no explanation, just a new version of the truth uploaded overnight. In the royal world, that kind of edit is a warning shot. The institution has moved on, and those left behind are now on their own. And yet, deletion doesn't solve the problem. It magnifies it. In today's world, screenshots are forever. Fans archive the original pages within hours. Bloggers publish side-by-side comparisons. Independent journalists analyzed each missing phrase. What was once a private cleanup became a public autopsy. People started asking the question the palace feared most. What exactly are they trying to hide? It's not the first time the monarchy has used quiet erasure as strategy. After Diana's divorce, Her Royal Highness vanished from her title. After Prince Andrew's scandals, his royal duties disappeared from official listings. The palace doesn't shout when it's ashamed. It whispers through omission. Harry and Meghan's omission is now permanent. For Meghan, the consequences are especially sharp. Her brand was built on being exceptional, the actress who could outthink diplomats and outwork royals. When the palace deletes the stories that fueled that image, what remains is the version she never wanted to sell. A talented woman who made it through persistence, not pedigree. For Harry, the effect is subtler but just as significant. Without the shield of royal endorsement, his record now stands alone. His military service remains commendable, but the prestige once amplified by palace PR has faded. The monarchy's silence around his achievements leaves a question mark instead of applause. This is the new royal reality. The institution protects itself first, family second. It's always been that way. When loyalty costs reputation, reputation wins. What's remarkable is how this particular edit exposes the delicate dance between image and authenticity. The royal family, long criticized for its secrecy, now plays the same game Harry and Meghan once mastered, controlling the narrative, shaping perception, erasing what doesn't serve them. The irony couldn't be sharper. The couple who accused the palace of manipulation are now victims of the same tactic. And while the deletions may seem petty, they carry weight. Biographies on the royal family's site aren't just public relations copy. They're archival record. They define legacy. They're what historians quote, what journalists cite, what schoolchildren read. When you vanish from those pages, you vanish from the institution's memory. That's the quiet punishment of erasure. It's not exile, it's extinction by omission. Yet for all the palace's control, It can't erase the internet. The original pages live on in screenshots, in videos, in the archives of every outlet that covered the Sussex story. The deletion has become part of the story itself. And that's where this tale turns poetic, because erasure always sparks curiosity. By trying to hide imperfections, the palace reignited interest. Viewers who'd stopped paying attention to royal drama suddenly returned to ask, what did they delete? Every missing sentence became a headline. Every blank space invited speculation. In a digital age, silence doesn't end a conversation. It amplifies it. And maybe that's why this moment matters so much. It's not about who's right or wrong, saint or sinner. It's about how truth survives when power edits the record. For decades, the monarchy has relied on selective storytelling to preserve dignity. Now, Harry and Meghan have done the same on their side of the Atlantic. Both factions rewriting, both polishing, both protecting what's left of their credibility. In that sense, they're reflections of each other. The palace edits web pages. The Sussexes edit interviews. Each accuses the other of spin, while both craft their own. It's a cycle, the fame loop, that never ends. And as long as people keep searching for authenticity in a world built on optics, the story will keep looping back. The deletion on October 1st was more than a website update. It was a public acknowledgement that the fairy tale has expired. The monarchy no longer sells the Sussex dream, and the Sussexes no longer belong to the monarchy's memory. But history doesn't vanish with a keystroke. What's erased from the palace site remains alive in the public eye, in every archive, every screenshot, every whisper that says, something here wasn't honest. That's the real revelation. You can't curate reality forever. Eventually, truth leaks through the edits, and when it does, people see the story for what it always was. Not a feud between family members, but a mirror held up to the power of image. Because in the end, both sides needed each other. The palace needed their glamour. They needed the palace's legitimacy. When that mutual benefit ended, so did the illusion. Now, we're left with a question bigger than royalty. What happens when every version of truth is a brand? For Harry and Meghan, it means rebuilding credibility one interview at a time. For the monarchy, it means surviving the modern world without the charm of the couple who once revived it. So the website may be cleaner now. The profiles may be shorter. The risk may feel smaller, but the damage is already done. The erasure isn't the end of their story. It's just the next chapter in a saga that refuses to fade. Because in the world of fame and royalty, nothing truly disappears. It just waits for its next re-upload, its next viral moment, its next loop in the cycle of attention. And that's exactly why we're here. This is FameLoopDaily, where the spotlight never stays still, and the truth always finds its way back around. If you've made it this far, you've seen how fame, image, and power twist together until they're indistinguishable. That's the loop. Like the story, it never really ends. Stay looped in.